Ethan Cole was just a regular man working on a lonely mining colony far from Earth. He liked quiet days and fixing machines. The desert planet had red sand, dry winds, and rocky hills that stretched for miles. It was not a place for excitement. And that was just how Ethan liked it. One evening, while checking broken sensors near the edge of the mining zone, Ethan noticed something strange in the sky. A flash of light shot across the horizon, followed by a loud boom. Curious and a little worried, he followed the smoke trail on his rover. After a long drive through the rough desert, he found a crashed ship buried in sand and dust. It didn't look like any human ship he had seen. The metal was dark and curved, with glowing blue lines running along the hull. The crash had torn a deep trench in the ground. Ethan parked his rover and slowly walked toward the wreck. He didn't know what he would find. Maybe no one was alive inside. Maybe it was dangerous. But he couldn't leave without checking. Inside the broken ship, he found a tall alien figure lying among the wreckage. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin was a pale shade of violet, and her armor was cracked and burned. Her long, white hair was stained with blood. Her chest moved slightly. She was alive, but barely. She opened her eyes and tried to sit up, but groaned in pain. Ethan raised his hand slowly and spoke calmly. "Easy. I'm not here to hurt you. I want to help." The alien woman stared at him with wide silver eyes. She looked confused, maybe even scared. Then she passed out. Ethan didn't waste time. He carried her to the rover, even though she was heavier than she looked. He drove back fast, keeping an eye on her. She didn't wake up during the trip. Back at his outpost, Ethan placed her on a medical bed. He cleaned her wounds, used his limited supplies to stop the bleeding, and tried to scan her vitals. The computer couldn't read her biology, but he did what he could. He stayed by her side through the night. She didn't wake, but her breathing grew steadier. The next morning, she opened her eyes again. She looked around, then stared at Ethan. "You are not Zarant," she said in a low, rough voice. Ethan shook his head. "I'm human. My name's Ethan. You crashed. I brought you here." She tried to sit up again, but winced in pain. "Why?" He poured her a cup of water and handed it to her. "Because you were hurt. I couldn't just leave you there." She studied him in silence. Then she drank the water. "My name is Kalira," she said. "I am a warrior of the Zarant people. We do not ask for help. We do not give it freely." Ethan gave a small smile. "Well, maybe humans do things differently." Over the next few days, Kalira slowly healed. She was strong and her body repaired faster than a human's. Still, she needed rest. Ethan took care of her wounds, brought her food, and answered her questions. She had many. "Why do you live alone? Are you not a warrior?" she asked one day. "I'm an engineer," Ethan said. "I fix machines, not fight battles," Kalira frowned. "In my world, those who do not fight are weak," Ethan shrugged. "Maybe, but I think helping others is a kind of strength too." Kalira didn't reply, but she looked at him differently after that. One night, a dust storm hit the colony. The wind howled and the power flickered. Ethan ran to secure the equipment. Kalira followed him, even though she was still recovering. "You should be resting," he said. "And leave you to face the storm alone?" she replied. "That is not the Zarant way." Together, they braved the storm, fixing loose panels and locking down gear. When it was over, they sat side by side, covered in sand, breathing hard. "You could have left me to die," Kalira said softly. Ethan looked at her. "But I didn't." She nodded slowly. "I do not understand you, human, but I will not forget what you did." Ethan gave a tired smile. "That's enough for me." As the stars came out and the wind died down, something had changed between them. Trust had started to grow. And with it, something neither of them expected. Kalira was healing quickly. Her body was strong, built for battle and survival. Each day, she walked a little more, stood a little straighter, and spoke a little longer. But she still didn't understand Ethan. She watched him as he worked. He spent hours fixing broken tools, cleaning solar panels, and checking the mining equipment. He wasn't loud or proud. He didn't show off his strength. But Kalira could see it. He worked hard, even when no one was watching. She asked him many questions. Why do you not live with others? She asked one morning while he cooked breakfast. Ethan stirred the food. I used to work with a team, but they moved to another station. I chose to stay here. It's quiet and I like fixing things. Do you not feel weak without others to protect you? Ethan shook his head. I can take care of myself, and I haven't needed protection so far. Kalira said nothing, but she kept watching him. In her world, a warrior was always with their squad. Living alone was dangerous, even shameful. Yet, Ethan lived alone and was not afraid. It puzzled her. Later that day, Kalira stood near the window, looking at the desert. The wind blew dust across the red hills. She spoke quietly. My people think humans are weak, soft, selfish. Ethan looked up from his repair work. And what do you think? Kalira turned to him. I do not know. You are not like the stories. You did not leave me to die. You share your food. You speak with respect. Ethan smiled. Maybe the stories are wrong. Or maybe I'm just different. Kalira crossed her arms. You do not understand what you've done. I am Zarnt. We repay our debts with honor. Saving my life is a heavy thing. I didn't do it to get something in return, Ethan said. I did it because it was the right thing. Kalira looked away, silent again. Over the next few days, they spent more time together. Kalira followed Ethan around the outpost, asking questions and helping where she could. She learned how solar panels worked. She helped carry heavy tools. She even helped him dig out a jam mining drone stuck in the rocks. One afternoon, Kalira sat with Ethan while he worked on a small generator. She handed him tools as he needed them. Do humans not value honor? She asked. Ethan thought for a moment. Some do, some don't. I think it's different for each person. In my world, honor is everything. A warrior dies with honor or lives with shame. Sounds like a hard life, Kalira nodded. It is, but it makes us strong. Ethan looked at her. You already are strong. You survived the crash. You stood in a storm, and now you're learning new things. That takes more strength than fighting sometimes. She looked at him, surprised by his words. That evening, they sat outside under the stars. The desert night was cool and quiet. Do you miss your people? Ethan asked. Kalira nodded. I was part of the Blade Legion. My commander, my squad. They were everything to me. We were sent to scout enemy territory. We were attacked. I don't know if anyone else survived. Ethan placed a hand on his knee. I'm sorry. I was trained not to fear death, Kalira said. But being alone is harder. You're not alone now, Ethan said. Not while you're here. Kalira looked at him, her eyes softer than before. You are strange, Ethan Cole, but I am beginning to see that strange does not mean weak. He laughed. I'll take that as a compliment. Kalira smiled slightly, the first time she had done so since the crash. As days passed, Kalira began training again. She practiced her movements slowly, her body still healing. Ethan watched her one morning as she moved through her forms with grace and power. You look better, he said. I feel better, she replied. Your care has helped. Ethan picked up a wrench. Glad to hear it. Then Kalira said something that surprised him. In the Zarn code, I now owe you my life. But more than that, I owe you respect. You have shown me a path I never knew existed. Ethan looked at her. I didn't do much. You did more than you know. They stood in silence, the wind blowing softly around them. There was something new in Kalira's eyes, a mix of curiosity, respect, and something else, something deeper. The bond between them was growing stronger, and neither of them knew how much it would change their lives. The days were quiet, and Kalira was almost fully healed. Ethan continued to work on the machines, and Kalira helped more often now. She no longer stayed inside. She walked around the outpost and even joined him on small trips to check mining equipment in the hills. But one morning, something felt wrong. Ethan stood on the roof, checking the satellite dish, when he saw strange shapes in the sky. 3 dark ships flew in from the horizon, fast and low. They were not human ships. They looked like sharp black blades cutting through the air. He climbed down quickly and ran to Kalira. "We have company," he said. She looked up, saw the ships, and her face changed. "They are not mine," she said. "Those are Drevuk raiders, enemies of my people." "Why are they here?" Ethan asked. "They must have followed my signal. I tried to destroy my ship's beacon, but maybe it wasn't enough." Ethan's mind raced. The colony was small. No defense systems. No soldiers. Just machines and workers. Kalira stepped forward. "We have to warn the others and prepare. They will not come to talk. They will come to take." Ethan sent a message to the nearby station. But they were too far to help in time. Kalira grabbed a long metal bar and tested its weight. "I need a weapon." Ethan handed her an old pulse rifle he had kept for emergencies. "It's not Zarinth tech, but it works." She checked the rifle and nodded. "It will do." The first attack came fast. One of the ships fired at the outer storage tanks. A loud explosion shook the ground. Fire and smoke rose into the sky. Ethan and Kalira ran outside. Drevuk warriors, tall and covered in black armor, landed near the outpost. They moved in groups, fast and silent. Kalira raised her weapon and fired. One of the raiders fell. She moved like a storm, quick and deadly. Ethan stayed low, using cover, shooting when he could. They fought together, back to back. Kalira shouted warnings. Ethan passed her new weapons and helped fallen workers. The Drevuk were strong, but the two of them held the line. After what felt like hours, the raiders pulled back. They returned to their ships and flew away. The ground was scorched, and smoke filled the air. Ethan leaned against a wall, breathing hard. "We did it." Kalira stood beside him, blood on her armor, a cut across her arm. For now, they will come back. That night, they sat by a small fire. Other workers joined them. No one spoke much. Everyone was tired, bruised, and scared. Kalira looked at Ethan. "You fought like a warrior." He smiled, tired. "I just wanted to protect everyone." "You did. And you protected me again." He looked at her. "We're a team now." She nodded slowly. "Yes, we are." The next morning, Ethan worked to repair the damage. Kalira helped, her arm bandaged. People now looked at her with respect. She was no longer just an alien. She was their protector. Later that day, Kalira sat alone on a rock, looking at the burned sky. Ethan joined her. "They will return," she said. "Maybe with more ships," Ethan nodded. "We'll be ready." Kalira turned to him. "I want to ask you something important." "What is it?" "In my culture, saving someone's life is a bond, but saving it twice. That means something deeper. You have risked your life for me. Twice." Ethan looked confused. "I just did what anyone should do." "No," she said. "Not everyone would. You are not one of my kind, but you have proven yourself more than most Zarinth warriors." He looked into her eyes. "What are you trying to say?" Kalira took a breath. "I owe you more than honor now. My people believe that when a warrior's life is saved like this, she must give a gift of legacy. That means bearing a child with the one who saved her." Ethan blinked, stunned. "Wait, are you serious?" "I am. I would not speak this lightly. I know your customs are different, but I had to tell you. You deserve to know." Ethan looked away, thoughts racing. He had never imagined this. He wasn't sure what to feel. Kalira stood up. "I do not expect an answer now. Think about it. I will not force you. But my offer is real." She walked back toward the outpost, leaving Ethan sitting there, quiet and deep in thought. The stars began to appear in the sky above him, and for the first time, he felt his world changing in a way he never expected. Ethan could not stop thinking about what Kalira had said. The idea of legacy, of her wanting to bear his child, was too big to forget. It was strange, but also meaningful. She wasn't joking. To her, this was a serious and respectful act. It made him feel honored, but also unsure over the next few days. Life at the colony slowly returned to normal. The workers repaired buildings, checked supplies, and set up early warning systems in case the raiders returned. People moved carefully, but with purpose. They had been shaken, but they were not broken. Kalira stayed close to Ethan. She helped him rebuild what had been damaged. They worked side by side, silent most of the time. But the silence wasn't awkward. It was full of understanding. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Ethan and Kalira sat on a metal bench near the storage units. The sky was orange and red, the wind soft. Kalira broke the silence. "Have you thought about what I said?" Ethan nodded slowly. "Yes, a lot. And I still don't know what to say. I wasn't ready for something like this. I didn't expect any of it." Kalira looked away. "I understand. It is not your way." He looked at her carefully. "But I think I understand you better now. This isn't just about duty, is it? It's about trust. About starting something new." She turned her eyes back to him. "Yes, you saved me. You protected others. You showed me a different path. I want my future to begin with someone like you." Ethan looked down at his hands. "I've always lived a quiet life. Fixing things, working alone. Now everything feels different." "You changed that." Kalira smiled slightly. "And you changed." "And me." Later that night, Ethan sat alone in his room. He looked at an old photo of his family. He remembered his father's words. Doing the right thing doesn't always mean doing the easy thing. He thought about Kalira's strength, her loyalty, her courage. He thought about her offer not as pressure, but as a choice. A door to something unexpected but real. The next morning, he found her in the training area, moving through her battle forms. "Kalira," he said. She stopped and turned. "Yes, I've made my decision." She waited. "I don't know what the future will look like, but I want to face it with you. If this is your way of honoring life, then I accept." Kalira stepped closer. "You truly mean it?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, not because of a debt, because I care about you, and I want to see what comes next." She placed a hand gently on his chest. "Then we begin this path together." In the days that followed, the bond between them grew stronger. Kalira told Ethan more about her people, about the meaning behind their traditions. The legacy ritual was not just about having a child. It was about joining lives, about building something new together. They built a small private space in the pod. Outpost garden, surrounded by stone walls and blooming desert flowers. It was a quiet place, filled with peace and light. Here, they would mark their bond in their own way, part human, part Zarant. One evening, the workers gathered for a simple meal. It was the first time since the attack that the whole colony shared food together. Laughter returned, and hope filled the air. Kalira stood beside Ethan as they watched the others. "They look at me differently now," she said. "They see you as one of us," Ethan replied. "Because you are." "I have never belonged to a place like this before," she said softly. "You do now." Under the stars, they sat close. Kalira leaned her head against Ethan's shoulder. "I do not know what kind of child we will have," she said. "But I know it will be strong, not just in body but in heart." Ethan smiled. "Then we'll raise them to be the best of both worlds." She looked up at him. "Yes, we will." As the night grew deeper and quiet, Ethan realized something. This place, once so empty and cold, now felt like home. Not because of the machines or the buildings, but because of her. Kalira had come from the stars, full of fire and pride. And Now, she was part of his life, part of his future. Together, they were building something new, something neither of them had ever dreamed possible. The sun rose slowly over the desert colony, turning the sand gold. Ethan woke early, feeling the worry in his chest. He went outside and saw Kalira already awake, walking quietly near the edge of the camp. Her eyes were focused, and she looked both strong and calm. Ethan walked up to her. "Did you sleep?" Kalira shook her head. "Not much. My mind is busy. I think about the raiders. I think about what will happen if they come back." Ethan nodded. "I think about it too, but we will be ready." Kalira looked at him. "I believe you. I trust you, Ethan." They walked together, checking the machines and helping the workers. The others in the colony now spoke to Kalira with respect. They listened to her advice and even asked her to teach them some of her fighting skills. She showed them how to move quietly, how to look for danger, and how to defend themselves if trouble came again. Ethan watched Kalira teaching. He saw the way she moved, the way she spoke with confidence. He admired her. But he also wondered what his own place was in all of this. He was not a fighter. He was an engineer, a fixer. But now, he felt something changing inside. That afternoon, as the sun beat down hard, Ethan and Kalira sat in the shade together, sharing water. "I keep thinking about what you said," Ethan said. "About your people, about legacy, about giving me a child. I've never even thought about being a father before. Not like this." Kalira was quiet. Then she said, "It is a big thing. I will not force you. My offer is not just duty. I want it to be your choice too." Ethan took a long breath. "I don't want to say yes because I feel I owe you. I want to say yes if it means something real to both of us." Kalira looked into his eyes. "You are not like my people, Ethan. You do not follow rules just because they are rules. But I see you care deeply. I see the way you help others. I want our child to have both our strengths." He smiled, feeling warmth in his heart. "If we do this, I want to do it together. Not because of debt, but because we want it." Kalira smiled softly. "That is what I want too." Later, as night fell, the colony gathered to eat together. Kalira sat with Ethan, and the workers listened to her stories of faraway stars and strange worlds. For the first time, she laughed openly. The people around her smiled, feeling that she was truly one of them now. That night, Ethan could not sleep. He looked up at the stars and thought about the future. He thought about Kalira's offer and what it could mean. He thought about his old life, so quiet and simple, and the new life that was growing out of chaos and fear. He was scared, but he was also excited. In the quiet darkness, Kalira came to find him. She sat beside him, and they talked about their dreams. She spoke of peace, of leaving war behind. Ethan spoke of home, of family, and of building something new. "I never wanted to be a hero," Ethan said quietly. Kalira reached out and took his hand. "You are not a hero because you fight. You are a hero because you care." They sat in silence, letting the moment grow between them. As the new day began, Ethan felt his worry lift. He knew there would be danger and hard choices ahead, but he also knew he would not face them alone. Kalira was with him, and together they would face whatever came next. Their bond was no longer just about honor or debt. It was about trust, hope, and a new future that neither of them had ever imagined before. Ethan stood by the window, looking at the quiet desert. The days since the last attack had been busy. People worked together to rebuild, but everyone was on edge. The fear of another raid hung in the air. Kalira helped as much as she could. Her arm almost healed, her movement strong again. But Ethan could see the worry in her eyes. Kalira was not used to waiting. In her world, warriors faced their problems head on. Now she had to wait and hope that help would come, or that the enemy would not return soon. Every night, she walked around the camp, watching for danger. One morning, a message arrived on Ethan's radio. It was a short signal from a Zarenth ship in orbit. The message said there was a neutral Zarenth enclave on a nearby moon. It was a safe place for Kalira, but she needed to travel there quickly. The message also said that the enclave leader wanted to meet the human who saved Kalira's life. Ethan told Kalira about the message. She listened quietly and then looked at him. "This is a chance to complete the ritual," she said. "My people will accept my life debt to you, but only if we do the ceremony at the enclave." Ethan nodded slowly. "What does the ceremony involve?" Kalira explained that the ritual was simple. They would stand together before the Zarenth elders and speak their truth. Then, if they both agreed, they would promise to share a legacy of child who would belong to both worlds. Ethan was nervous. He had never left the colony before, and he was not sure what to expect from Kalira's people. But he saw the hope in her eyes. He agreed to go with her. The next day, a small Zarenth shuttle landed at the edge of the camp. The colonists watched as Kalira and Ethan packed their things and said goodbye. People shook their hands and thanked them for their bravery. The shuttle was fast and quiet. Ethan looked out the window as the planet shrank behind them. Kalira sat beside him, silent but calm. When they arrived at the enclave, Ethan felt out of place. The buildings were made of shining metal, tall and strange. Zarenth warriors walked in groups, their armor bright and colorful. Some looked at Ethan with cold eyes. Others whispered as he passed. Kalira led him to the main hall, where the enclave leader, a tall Zarenth named Velrak, waited. Velrak's eyes were sharp, and his voice was deep. "You are the human who saved Kalira twice," Velrak said. "That is rare, even among our own." Ethan bowed his head. "I just did what was right." Velrak nodded. "We honor those who save our warriors. But not all in the enclave agree. Some see humans as weak." Kalira stood by Ethan's side. "He is not weak. He risked his life for me and for the colony." A Zarenth commander stepped forward and looked at Ethan. "Let us test the human strength." Before Ethan could answer, an alarm rang through the enclave. A part of the building had collapsed from sabotage. People ran to help. Ethan saw that some workers were trapped under heavy beams. Without thinking, Ethan rushed into the dust and smoke. He found a trapped worker and used his knowledge to lift the beam with a broken support rod. He guided people to safety and helped others escape. He called from the dust, but he did not stop until everyone was safe. When it was over, Velrak came to him. "You saved our people with your skills, not with weapons. That is true strength." Kalira looked at Ethan with pride. That evening, Kalira and Ethan stood before the elders. The hall was filled with Zarenth, watching them closely. Velrak spoke first. "Kalira's debt must be honored. Do you both accept the ritual of legacy?" Kalira nodded. "I accept by my choice and my heart." Ethan looked at Kalira, then at the elders. "I accept too, not because of debt, but because I care for Kalira and want a future together." The elders accepted their promise. The ritual was simple. Kalira placed her hand over Ethan's, and they spoke their words together. The crowd was silent, then gave a deep, respectful bow. After the ceremony, Kalira and Ethan were alone for a moment. She smiled, her eyes bright. "You have faced every challenge with courage. Now you are part of my world." Ethan took her hand. "And you are part of mine." Together, they looked up at the stars, knowing their new life was just beginning. Ethan and Kalira returned to the mining colony, landing the small shuttle near the edge of the familiar red sand. It felt strange to be home again after their visit to the Zarenth enclave, but everything looked different now. Kalira walked slowly beside Ethan, her eyes watching the horizon as the other colonists hurried to greet them. News had spread quickly. People knew about the ceremony and what it meant. Some of the workers came forward with warm smiles. They shook Ethan's hand and gave Kalira careful nods of respect. It was clear that the people here were ready to accept their new future, even if it was still a mystery to them. Kalira looked at Ethan. "Do you think your people will accept this?" she asked softly. Ethan smiled. "Maybe not all, but I think they will try. You showed them your strength and your kindness. That is what matters most." The next days passed quietly. Kalira spent her time helping the colony recover from the last attack. She showed the workers how to build stronger walls and how to set up early warning sensors. Ethan worked beside her, teaching her how to fix machines and manage the solar panels. The two of them worked together every day, and people in the colony began to treat Kalira as one of their own. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in gold and purple, Kalira took Ethan's hand. Her skin was warmer now, and her eyes were softer. "I am happy here," she said. "For the first time, I feel I belong somewhere that is not just about fighting." Ethan squeezed her hand. "You belong here with us, Kalira, and with me." Few weeks later, Kalira started feeling different. She spoke with the colony's medic, a kind woman named Laura. After a simple check, Laura smiled at Kalira and said, "Congratulations, you are going to have a child." Kalira felt something, bright and warm inside. She went to find Ethan right away. He was in the workshop, fixing a broken mining drone. When she told him, he stopped working and just stared at her, surprised but happy. "Are you sure?" he asked. Kalira nodded. "I am sure. We are going to have a child, Ethan." He pulled her into a gentle hug. "I didn't know I could ever feel so happy or so scared at the same time." Kalira laughed softly. "I feel the same, but I am ready. We will face it together." As the days passed, the whole colony learned the news. People brought small gifts and offered to help. Some were nervous, but most were excited. The idea of a child born from a human and a Zarant was strange, but it also gave people hope for a new future. Even the children in the colony became curious, asking Kalira questions about her home and her people. Kalira grew stronger each day. Her armor did not fit as it once had, so she wore simple clothes like the other workers. She and Ethan spent long evenings talking about the future, about raising their child, about making a home in the colony, and about how they could help others accept the differences between species. One evening, Kalira and Ethan sat outside watching the stars. Kalira placed Ethan's hand gently on her belly. He felt a soft movement beneath his fingers and looked into her eyes. "It is amazing," he whispered. "We are part of something bigger than ourselves now." Kalira nodded. "You gave me hope, Ethan. You showed me that there can be more than war and loss. You gave me a future." Ethan smiled. "You gave me strength, Kalira. You taught me what it means to be brave, not just with weapons, but with my heart." The colony became a place of peace. Other ships came sometimes, bringing news and supplies. Some brought visitors, humans, and even a few Zarant curious to see the place where two worlds were coming together. Kalira was proud to tell her story. She spoke of Ethan, of kindness, and of how the universe could change when people chose. Trust over fear. In time, Kalira and Ethan's child was born. The whole colony gathered to welcome the baby, who had Kalira's bright eyes and Ethan's gentle hands. There was laughter, cheers, and even a few tears. People from many backgrounds celebrated together. Kalira held her child close. Ethan stood beside her, proud and amazed. For both of them, life had changed in ways they could never have imagined. They had built a new family, a new legacy on a faraway planet where humans and Zarant once feared each other. As the stars shone above, Kalira whispered to her child, "You are the hope for both our worlds." Ethan wrapped his arms around his family, and together they faced the future, knowing that love and courage had brought them this far and would carry them even farther.